Welcome back to Math 103. This is video number 3 on fair division. Last time we gave a specific definition of what we mean by fair for purposes of this discussion. It is not meant to be the definitive discussion of every aspect of what the word fair could possibly mean. On the contrary, we are pinning down one specific aspect of fairness and investigating it. The idea is that if you and a number of other people, N of you in total, are dividing goods among you, then you are entitled to at least 1/nth of the total value of the goods, according to your value system. So the notion of minimum fair share is very important here. So if there are N players, then a portion of the goods whose value, according to you, or according to a specific player, is exactly 1/nth of the total value of the goods, exactly, not at least, but exactly, then we call that a minimum fair share for the player. Right? So the word exactly here is important. So a fair share means a minimum fair share or more than that. So in this particular notion of fairness, the emphasis is on making sure that no one gets shortchanged. No one gets an overtly raw deal. If someone gets more than a minimum fair share, good for them. We're not looking to cut everyone down to size and making sure that nobody gets too much. Instead, we're making sure that no one gets too little. We're making sure that everyone gets at least their minimum fair share. Some people may get exactly their minimum fair share, and that's going to be good enough. So if two people are dividing goods between them, then each is entitled to at least 1/2 of the value of the goods, as each one perceives it, and if one of them gets just their minimum fair share, but the other one gets more than a minimum fair share, that's okay. Within this notion of fairness, that's okay. If 3 people are dividing goods, each is entitled to at least 1/3 of the value of the goods, as each one perceives it. And if one of them or 2 of them get just their minimum fair share and a third one gets more than a minimum fair share, that's okay. Now, an assignment of a portion of the goods to each player, such that each player does receive a fair share, is called a fair division. If there is even one player who gets anything less than a fair share, then the whole division is called an unfair division. Let's look at an example. 4 siblings, Wendy, Xavier, Yolanda, and Zachary, inherit a house. Suppose that each one believes the house to be worth $400,000. That means that each one genuinely believes that the house is worth $400,000. We're not saying that the real estate broker quoted them $400,000 as the value of the house. No, we're saying Wendy truly believes this house is worth $400,000. And if you offered her a choice between the house and $390,000 cash, she'd rather have the house. If you offered her a choice between the house and $410,000 cash, she'd rather have the cash, right? So $400,000 cash versus the house, that really would be an impossible choice to make. They really would be equally valuable to her. That's what we really mean by worth $400,000. So that's true of each of the siblings, and we can then ask whether the following is a fair division. Imagine, this is not so hard to imagine, the siblings can't agree who should get the house. So no one does. No one person gets the house. So instead, they sell it, but in the current housing market, they can't get $400,000 for it. They only get $360,000 after fees and other costs. All right, so they split that 4 ways, so each one receives $90,000 in cash. So think, according to our definition, is giving each sibling $90,000 in cash a fair division? The answer is no. This scenario is not a fair division. You might have thought that because each one is getting the same dollar amount, $90,000, and $360,000 was all they could get in the fair market, well, then that's the best they could do, and so it's a fair division. No, that's not the thinking. That's not how our notion of fairness actually works. The house is worth $400,000, so each sibling's minimum fair share amount equals 1/4 of $400,000. Why 1/4? There are 4 siblings. Each one is entitled to 1 share out of 4. Right, so in other words, each one is entitled to $100,000 worth of value. That means any division which gives even one of the siblings less than the minimum fair share amount of $100,000 is not a fair division. So giving them each $90,000 does not count under our definition as a fair division. Someone watching this video right now is undoubtedly thinking that so what they each think the house is worth $400,000. If the market says it's only worth $360,000, then that's the reality. There is no point complaining that there's something unfair about it. But there is a point to noticing through the computation we just did that everybody gets shortchanged that way. And maybe instead of selling the house and splitting the proceeds, they should look for another solution. So before going on to the next video, determine whether the following is a fair division. Wendy gets the house, and she buys out each of her siblings. She pays each of her siblings $100,000. Is this a fair division according to our definition?